Well, guys, welcome to ATC Hanging Out with Bryan Chaney from Indeed. Bryan's the Director for Employment Branding and Talent Attraction. Bryan, welcome to ATC Events Hang Out. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here. Happy to talk to someone on the opposite side of the planet. I love that part of the world, and I've only been there once so far, but I'm itching to come back, especially come back to Sydney.
Fantastic. So, Bryan, I know since your IBM days, you've kind of moved on, and now you're working for Indeed, and your role there is talent attraction, employment branding. So, tell us a little bit about your role at Indeed.
So I've been at Indeed for over 6 months, and I lead employer brand for talent attraction. So for internal recruiting. So Indeed is a company that's growing, as well as helping other companies find and hire the talent that they need. Indeed's actually just passed 2,400 employees globally, and so part of my role is to support global talent attraction and all the teams internationally. So how to tell the story, what the social recruiting platforms look like, and really empowering the recruiting teams with the tools and the ways to capture those employee stories and share them out there with our prospects.
Fantastic. Well, Indeed's a really good friend and supporter of ATC, so glad to hear that you're working with one of our friends. So, Bryan, I remember, I believe that you coined the phrase AMP, A-M-P-T. Tell us about what that means and how you came about that.
So AMPed is some people consider it, or I consider it, a cheesy acronym. But what I've learned over several years is that we have to figure out ways to understand the goal of the message that we're putting out there as recruiters, as talent attractors. And so I started looking at the basic categories that are motivators for people to change and seek out a career. And so AMPed stands for A for advancement, M for money, any kind of benefit, P is for people, the culture, the team that you're going to work with. And then T is technology. And now technology is a little bit of a stretch because it also means innovation, things that the company is developing or that the person will be able to help develop, that really pushes that technological or industry forward, doing things that nobody else has been doing. So AMPed is something that I use to really think about messaging as we look at social recruiting, as we look at email marketing, any kind of outreach and engagement that recruiters use. We have to prioritize what we're putting out there. We have to describe the carrots, right?
Totally. Yeah. Interesting. So, Bryan, at Indeed, so are you able to kind of give us an example of how you're applying AMP that maybe our viewers down in Australia and New Zealand and parts of Asia could apply to their organisation?
So everything that we do from a messaging standpoint, when we're holding a recruiting event, when we're launching a hiring campaign, when we're doing social advertising, we look at the motivators for each one and we break it down by group. So if you're trying to hire engineers, we have a specific profile for engineers that tells us that the engineers are focused on tough problems and what they want to work with smart people, so that the people part of that equation is super, super high. And so while in some markets the monetary compensation is going to be a primary driver, in a lot of them it's not. And so they want to be able to solve a tough problem, they want to innovate, and they want to do it with a team of smart people. So that for engineers in many scenarios, the primary drivers are the people and the technology part of AMPed.
Fantastic.
So taking that and mapping it to your messaging, your campaign, helps you adjust and continually evolve what you're putting out there as you get responses.
Yeah, great, fantastic. Bryan, one of the things I see coming out of the US of recent times is personas around, building candidate personas. Are you, and it's not common down in this part of the world. I think I've only seen 1 or 2 people down here talk about it. So can you give us a little bit of an insight in terms of like what a candidate persona is, and are you using candidate personas?
We are, and in fact, we tie them back into the amped motivators. So we know that a specific type of engineer will care about those things. Someone in sales cares about career advancement and compensation. So taking that and then adding a personality to it. So thinking about what schools they went to, thinking about the challenges, thinking about the age ranges, and then even going so far as to saying, okay, this particular age group has names of these certain kinds because of the years that they were born. And so understanding the vernacular, the slang that they use, and then baking that into all of our messaging when we're targeting that group. I think that makes everything a lot easier, not just because it's more fun than saying, okay, great, let's launch split test A versus split test B. It's, okay, let's realize that we're launching this campaign to reach Mickey and his millennial friends, right? That's just an example. No, Mickey is not a mouse, just in case you're curious.
Fantastic. Brilliant. So Bryan, questionary trends, and technology. What are you seeing some of the trends in terms of what recruiters are now doing and technology that maybe is enabling, the kind of the employer branding, the talent attraction piece that, you think could be, worth sharing with the audience down here in Australia and New Zealand?
So the trend really is more towards personalization and respecting the individual. So everything that allows recruiters to customize that experience to the individual. And so there's some software out there that allows people to analyze personalities based on email conversations, based on social media updates, and customize that so that that outreach is much more relevant and personal to the individual. So everything is becoming customized. So if you when you buy your shoes, do you go to the store and pick out your shoes and see what's available and ask them if they have it in your size? So now what I'm seeing is that people are becoming accustomed to the ability to go online and pick out not only the color of shoe, but customize what they want on there, customize writing on the shoe, and order it in their specific size in an extra wide and have it delivered to them. And so this type of customization is a trend that's sweeping across everything that we offer humans as consumers. And so I see that trend happening more and more. So the ability to understand what people want and what they are motivated by, and to do that research ahead of time is really important. So that there's a tool called Crystal that allows you to analyze email communications and figure out how people want and need to be addressed and responded to. So that's just one example of a tool that allows people to do that. And then the shift from the ATS world to the CRM world. So people understand that it's a longer conversation. It's not posting or selling your job and then hoping that the right people are ready to buy at that moment. So longer conversations, more personalization, and respect for the individual. I think that's really the trend that I'm seeing more for the candidate experience.
Fantastic. So recruitment is really becoming marketing, I think, is kind of what you're starting to say. So I think we're also starting to see that down here. So maybe not at the same pace as the US, but certainly that's where it's going. In fact, our last conference last year, the theme was recruitment as marketing. So yeah, I think you're right on the money. A couple of other things I just wanted to touch on. So if you were giving some advice to the recruitment leaders down in Australasia around employer branding and talent attraction, what would be the things that you would offer your fellow recruiters down in this part of the world?
So from an employer brand perspective, the biggest piece of advice that I've learned over the last few years is to listen before you speak, and that's a really broad piece of advice. So let me narrow it down. What I mean by that is, don't assume you know what the culture and the personality of your employees is. Listen first and gather that information. A lot of companies use surveys, they use reviews, and so having a digital version of that, but then also taking it offline and getting people actually in a room to share their perspectives and do what I call as a sanity check, to make sure that the digital information, the online information that you've gathered is real, and not just what people think that you want to hear. So listening first before trying to be the voice of your employee or your company, so that it's authentic. And that's another buzzword, right? But what I mean by that is, it sounds like something that people would say to each other in conversation face to face, as opposed to taking that marketing piece to the other extreme.
Fantastic, great. So Bryan, on a personal note, what are the things that you like to do away from work?
Well, I love reading people. So I actually like to play poker and have that interaction. So figuring out what people's tells are and having that exchange is one of the ways that I kind of get away from work. I also have a couple of dogs, and I love taking them on walks, going out. And in fact, this weekend, my wife and I are going to Napa Valley for the weekend out in San Francisco, while we have a little bit of time left to enjoy some wine.
Sounds like fun. So Bryan, it's been a really, really good chat. I really appreciate you giving up part of your Friday afternoon to talk to us. I really do appreciate it. Just like what I'd just like to say, thank you for joining us. I know you're going to, over the coming weeks and months, you're going to contribute and provide us a few posts here and there for our ATC Hub. On your, in your area of expertise around the employment branding and talent attraction. So we really look forward to seeing some of your posts and how you can part some of your expertise for us down in this part of the world. So thank you. Really appreciate you coming online and hanging out on ATC Events first hangout. Can you believe it? So there you go. You're first. So we should do this more often. So thanks a lot, Bryan. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. Have a great one.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye.